Welcome to Chapter 5 of my book, The DNA Code of I Ching by Jody Milner. You can find a link to my book in the description below. This section covers the hexagram link to pyramids. What if I told you the blueprints of ancient pyramids have been hiding in plain sight for at least 3,000 years? There are numerous unsolved mysteries surrounding ancient pyramids. Who built them? When were they built? How were human ancestors able to accomplish the construction of these huge structures? How did the basics of pyramid design travel to the New World? Why did people stop building them? These are fascinating riddles which continue to inspire serious research, intelligent speculation, and outright fantasy. We cannot help but be amazed at the architectural brilliance of pyramids. What inspired the ancients to design and construct these megalithic structures? In 2020, I discovered a possible answer hidden in plain sight for millennia. When I began my research into hexagrams, I was not looking for any type of mathematics, nor was I thinking of pyramids in the slightest. Even after the information had fully unveiled itself, I was still hesitant to believe what I had found. Had a blueprint for four-sided pyramids been hiding within an ancient Chinese text? Who would have thought to seek answers concerning Egyptian pyramids within the Book of Changes? I was astounded. As it turns out, the geometry of ancient pyramids has been preserved as a binary code, disguised as an oracle for millennia. During my early observations of the initial 8 house maps, some things were obvious and some things were hidden. It did not take a great imagination, however, to realize that pyramid models played a central role in the geometry of this system. The first 2 house images in the odd and even sets, 0 and 2 and 1 and 3, feature double pyramids, with similar angles to the Great Pyramid of Giza, pointing in east-west and north-south directions. The angles of the faces are 50.625 degrees at the 2 bases and 78.75 degrees at the apex. This diagram shows how the angles of a pyramid can be calculated using the 64-point system. In this diagram, the 4 apexes of the 14-point, 78.75 degree pyramid are shaded in gray, and the 8 base points are shaded in green. The inner square which connects the apexes has the same area as the circle. The outer square connects the bases. Ancient pyramids have survived into our modern times and continue to exist in various locations, including Asia, South and Central America, Mexico, and Egypt. They have been measured and scrutinized, calculated, debated, and highly publicized. Does the ancient geometric system found in hexagrams have a direct connection to these structures? After uncovering and studying this lost system of mathematical knowledge, I began to wonder if the earlier heaven trigram code existed as a blueprint for pyramidal structures, long before it was changed into an oracle. The next picture shows a model I built using 4 charts of all houses mapped together. Notice the interconnected, puzzle-like structure of the diagrams. They seem instructive, like blueprints. There are 4 pyramid types, which can be modeled by cutting them out of the circle along their 4 baselines, and then folding and pinching them into the center to join the bases. This picture shows how the 4 pyramids compare to each other in terms of height and angles. 4 pyramids with 4 differing apex angles can be modeled from the center point. However, the 14-point apex pyramid is clearly highlighted. It distinctly appears in various sizes. The Great Pyramid of Giza. When I first observed the geometry of the 64 hexagrams displayed a diagram of a 4-sided pyramid, I wondered if the angle measurements would match up to the Great Pyramid of Giza. Although close, they were not the exact measurements. The accepted Great Pyramid base angles are 51.84 degrees, which produces apex angles of 76.32 degrees. The base angles of the pyramid coded in the earlier heaven trigram wheel are 50.625, and the apex is 78.25 degrees. Very close. As I researched various documentaries featuring Sumerian texts and artifacts, I kept noticing 8-sided images depicting objects such as suns or flowers. Additionally, I knew that Indian mandala art is built on octagonal shapes. I started to wonder if ancient cultures from the Nile to the Yellow River were using a similar geometry built on a 64-degree system. This picture is of a lotus tile in the Badami cave temples in India. The tick marks around the outside circle total 64 when the petal edges are counted. The next row of petals numbers 16 and divides the outer lines into equal sections of 4. As I continued to study many ancient artifacts depicting circles divided into 8 main parts, I decided to look for the Great Pyramid angles within the house systems I had identified. My effort was successful with a far easier solution than I had expected. This diagram shows exactly where the angles of the Great Pyramid are located and how they align with the more explicitly featured pyramid of the house systems. The red lines represent the north-pointing face of the Giza Pyramid. Notice that the apex point aligns with the octagonal division, shown in blue, within the greater circle. The bases utilize the same points as those of the more obvious pyramids. The pyramid peaks at the central conjunction, created by the 34, 48, 60, and 46-point connections. For this diagram, I removed excess lines, making it easier to see where the Great Pyramid angle is located. The blue lines depict the octagon and connect the 4 apex points of the pyramid at the north, south, and east-west centers. The green lines show how the baselines are aligned to a 6-point, 10-point configuration. The geometry of the Great Pyramid works perfectly within the 64-degree system. This is a picture of a model I built using the diagram of the Great Pyramid as described. Notice that the Giza Pyramid model creates a circle and square image around the apex of the pyramid. This picture is of 2 copper models I built to compare the size of the earlier Heaven Pyramid to the adjusted Giza Pyramid. They have the same base length. The taller pyramid on the right is the Giza model. Conclusions. It turns out life is a biotechnological, mathematical, event-steered structure. We know life exists on planet Earth. Does it exist on other planets, on their moons, in other solar systems and galaxies? Probably, but for now we can only guess. The life we can experience, examine, observe, and appreciate is surrounding us right here on this one elemental speck in an unfathomable universe. How did life start? How did it change and progress to become what it is today? Earthly life is built from 2 distinct systems brought together to produce a diffusion of life forms. As a direct result of their presence, these various life forms help orchestrate new life-supportive alterations to the original elemental platform. Soil, air composition, and a plethora of food sources are the result of life forms and constantly bring forth new platforms and niches for species building. The first necessary component for life as found on this planet is the system of elements. Generally, young people begin to learn about elements in school by looking at a periodic table. This table identifies the atomic compositions of the basic ingredients from which our 3-dimensional world is composed. The second system required for earthly life is the DNA code. The DNA code is a binary, 64-bit, biotechnological, mathematical code, which relies upon its own growth adaptive potentials, as it effectively and efficiently utilizes the elemental components at hand. The DNA code is a binary mathematical language built on 4 distinct codon types, combined into all possible sets of 3. These 64 sets of 3 codons each result in amino acids. The human body uses 21 amino acids to create all the proteins it requires to compose itself, function, and grow. One person might look at the waltz of life across Earth as the hand of God. Another person might perceive only a scientific lead event. Whatever your view of this complexity of interdependent life, each divergent form carrying the same 64-bit code, I hope scientists think long and hard before attempting alterations to its complex structure. No human has the foresight or right to manipulate the code of life. Please tread lightly. Thanks for your interest in my work. Please give these videos a thumbs up so others will see them. A link to my book can be found in the description below.